So when is it time to get out of comics? As a retailer, as a worker, as a creator, as a fan? When is it time to call it quits? Let's talk about that. Hey there, this is Perch. I want to talk about when it's time to say goodbye. Now, I think that oftentimes in comics and other things, we romanticize certain aspects about the business, whether you're a creator, whether you're a retailer, whether you're a fan. There's a certain it's bigger than other things. I'll put it this way: you go to the grocery store, you buy meat all the time. Well, I mean, maybe if you're vegetarian or vegan, probably not. But if you buy something. You buy eggs, you buy milk, you buy cheese, you buy. I need to think of something vegan friendly. You buy soy milk. I don't know. You buy whatever you're going to buy, and you do that, but you don't have a relationship with soy milk or eggs. You eat them, you consume them, you buy them, you look for sales, you do your thing, you make sure they're not rotten, or if you buy some eggs, how many of you still, by the way, you go to the grocery store, you buy some eggs, and you like open the egg carton to see if some of the eggs are screwed up, and 1 out of 10 times there's some cracked eggs in there. You close it back up, put that back on the shelf, get another package, you do this again. It's amazing to me that still goes on. I remember as a child watching my mother do that at the store, just kind of look through the eggs. And I remember the first time I traveled to Japan, and I was getting some eggs, and I do that out of habit. I go open it up, and like people are like, oh, no, 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 no. They're giving me the crossed fingers X sign. They're like, don't open that. And it was just culturally, you just don't open eggs. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. But anyway, you don't have a relationship with these goods you buy. When you take your car to the gas station, you put in gas. You're getting the gas and you leave. You don't romanticize that process. But with comics, it's a creative endeavor. It's something that we make, we consume, we read, we enjoy, we think about, and so we have this kind of romantic relationship with the whole business. And I think that romantic relationship, like many romances, can sometimes go sour, where you built up a lot of emotion, a lot of connection, whether again you're a fan, you're a retailer, you're a creator, into comics, and then it turns on you. Maybe it's because you work on a comic with another creator, and the other creator turns out to be a kitty porn person, gets arrested, and it just sours the whole thing. I'm using real examples here. Maybe you're working for an editor at DC Comics who used to edit Superman, and you know that he's a big creep, and he would get drunk at conventions and do really unwarranted things on people that made you uncomfortable, and so you just became bitter about comics as a result, because every time you tried to work on something, you thought of this guy. Maybe as a fan, you loved a certain character. Maybe your favorite character was Iceman, and you liked Iceman for 35 years. And then one day on one page of a comic, Bendis has Jean Grey go, "Oh, you're gay now." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I am." And you now have a whole different aspect to this character that wrecks your view, your attachment to Iceman. And it makes you bitter. Maybe as a retailer, you've been selling these comics, but these incentive programs have one incentive program too many, and you've got too many comics you can't sell, and then you're done. There's a lot of reasons why you might become bitter about comics, and that relationship, that romance with the industry may die. And I think there's two things that I want to communicate if you find yourself in that spot, or if you see somebody else in that spot. And the first is, and I think the most important one is, it's really none of your business or none of other people's business if you fall out of love with comics. Sometimes, and because why I describe it as having a romance with comics, or having a connection with that industry, when people get bitter or tired or disgusted, or they just don't want to take it anymore, they get angry about comics, there's a backlash sometimes that happens of, hey, you can't say that. Hey, you can't be mad at comics, or I love comics. You should just shut up. And I want you to think about it in terms of a relationship. What if you were friends with somebody, some good friend, and your good friend was married, and then that marriage turned sour. There was infidelity or spousal abuse or just some horrible thing, right? And the marriage breaks up, and your friend is despondent, sad, depressed, bitter about this marriage. You wouldn't, if you're trying to comfort that person, if you're trying to kind of help them out, you wouldn't say, I liked her, shut up. Or I think you should just stop crying and just get married again tomorrow. Or, hey, you may have had this bad experience, but who cares? It doesn't matter. You can have it, just get another relationship. Why don't you just start another relationship tomorrow? Why not? You wouldn't say those things because it's crazy. And now, granted, comics aren't people, but still, if somebody has an event that takes them out of being happy about comics, we shouldn't kind of browbeat them for suddenly being bitter or angry. If a fan who liked Iceman for 30 years and now suddenly he's gay and the fan is angry about it, we shouldn't say, shut up, get over it. This is progress, man. Just shut up. We shouldn't say that. That doesn't make any sense. We should say, hey, you can be sympathetic to it. That doesn't mean you have to immediately change him back or, hey, we'll straightify him. You don't do that. But you can say, yeah, I get why you're mad. I mean, imagine from the fan creator standpoint, if more creators would say, hey, I get why you're upset. We're trying to tell a good story here. Sorry this one didn't land for you, but I understand. I understand you're upset. You don't have to agree with why the person's upset. You can just say, I understand it. And on the creator side, if a creator gets angry or frustrated because they're have a bad work situation or they're not getting paid enough and they need insurance and they don't have it, or whatever it happens to be, and that creator goes and vents on Twitter and just gets mad about stuff, the fan shouldn't go, hey, you should always be happy. You should just be plugging the comics. Hey, shut up about your personal problems. We don't care. Plug the comics. That's not fair either. These people are people, and if something is driving them to an anger about the industry, let them be themselves. And I think the second point I want to point out is it's natural for people to fall out of love with things. It's natural for people to be all into something and then one day not. And so if that's you, don't try and force it. This may sound counterintuitive to somebody who sells comics in times or to creators or to anybody, but let people leave. I said there was a retailer in Seattle that ran Xanadu Comics, and he was unhappy. The last several years of running that shop, he clearly did not enjoy what he was doing. And a lot of people are like, oh, come on, just stick with it, get better. Or, hey, you can't leave the comics community. I remember one creator at Emerald City Comic Con was talking to this guy who owns Xanadu. And this guy's like, I don't know if I can keep going. I don't enjoy it anymore. It's not my blood anymore. I remember exactly what he said. He just expressed this, like, I think I'm going to call it quits. And the creator, writer, who defends the weak, was going on and on about, no, you can't leave. It's in your blood. You can't leave. You need to stick with it. And sometimes life gets tough and, what can I do? Do you want me to sign some books for you? Or, and it's like, think about that in terms of a relationship. Think about it in terms of somebody who, was in an abusive relationship. They're coming to you going, I think I need to leave. I think the guy, he gets drunk and hits me every now and then. Imagine if you gave that person the advice of like, just stick with it. This marriage is in your blood. Just, maybe just wear some more makeup to cover the bruises. It'll be fine. You wouldn't say that. So just let people go. If you find yourself where you don't enjoy comics, it's okay. Don't buy them. Don't buy things you hate. I've said this consistently over the last 2 years of the best way to kind of have better life, be happy, do your thing, is don't buy things you hate. If you're that's why I've had this strong opinion about collectors. Collecting is fine, but if you hate comics, if you hate the X-Men, if you hate the direction, and you're just buying it because you want a complete run, call it a day. It's okay. I mean, or don't read the comics. Don't even, if you're a collector, just find a location, take your business to a Midtown or a Golden Age or a Mile High, where they will bag, board, and ship the comics to you, and you can deliver it right from the mail into the long box and never even touch it. Just do that for a while, if you have to. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. Don't feel bad about where your money's going. And if you're a creator, don't feel bad about where your time is going. And if you're a retailer, don't feel bad about feeling like you have to somehow keep this community alive, even though you hate it. Just do be happy. If you hate something and it doesn't repair itself, navigate to something that's going to make you happier. Comics is a great and wonderful thing. I love it. I will always love it. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I may not. And if I don't, I'm going to stop dealing with it. I'm not going to go on Twitter and be one of these people who's like, comics today sucks. I won't read modern comics. They all suck, 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 suck. I mean, I'm just going to be talking about whatever I do enjoy. And I think we have to give each other the freedom to leave. If you want to leave, we need to give you the freedom to leave. That's what I'm saying. Um, I don't want people to leave, but if they're unhappy, I want them to go find happy. That's really all there is to it. But what about you? Have you ever fallen out of love with comics, or are you somebody who? And by the way, you can come back. The door is always open. You can fall out of